in the sun. That's what most people think of when they hear the words Florida Keys. And why wouldn't they? The Keys are an island paradise just off of the southern coast of Florida.
The Keys are actually the remnants of an ancient coral reef system that was here thousands and thousands of years ago.
They're an island chain, or an archipelago, in the Florida Strait to be more specific.
The first key is Key Largo, as you're making your way south to Key West from Miami. Beyond that, you're going to enter the Keys of Almirada, Lower Matacumbe Keys, and then eventually you're going to end up towards Pigeon Key, which is where the 7 Mile Bridge crosses over, and then you'll enter some of the lower keys, which are Big Pine, Cudjoe Key, and then eventually you'll get to the much lower keys, which is where Key West is.
The islands were called Keys from the Spanish word cayos. The Keys are rich with Spanish culture because the first European settlers were from Spain. At its southernmost tip in the town of Key West lies the continental United States' southernmost point. It's only 90 miles to the island of Cuba, but I wouldn't attempt the swim.
If you were to drive from Miami to Key West, it would take you roughly about 3.5 hours, as you'd have to travel 128 miles. But those 128 miles are traversing some of the most beautiful water in the country, turquoise, blue, green waters. And you'd be crossing over not only the bridges, but many of the thickly mangrove-covered islands and palm trees.
Along the way to Key West, most tourists' final destination, you'll pass over the famous 7 Mile Bridge, an engineering marvel originally built by Florida tycoon Henry Flagler.
The 7 Mile Bridge is actually, interestingly enough, is 4 separate bridges. When they were building it, one of the most interesting stories I find is that the workers, they claimed that they could not see the opposing shore when they began construction of it. It was actually 4 separate types of bridges that were required to build the railroad. So as they were building it, it didn't become known as the 7 Mile Bridge until much after its opening of the railway.
Henry Flagler sought a way to connect the islands to the mainland of Florida to capitalize on tourism as well as an easier way to host friends and family. He was quite the character.
Henry Flagler worked with John D. Rockefeller in developing Standard Oil, which was one of the largest corporations in U.S. history. As he entered his 60s, he decided to, or I should say he developed the tourism industry of Florida. He began to open luxury hotels and resorts for wealthy vacationers from the north, beginning in the northeastern coast of Florida. And what he did is he started building these resorts further south, and as he did that, he realized that the travelers had no uniform way of getting to the destinations. So he started purchasing and building new railroads down the east coast of Florida. In 1904, he seized the opportunity to build the railroad from Miami to Key West. He had hoped that he was going to be able to capture a lot of the industry and trade that was going on at that time as the Panama Canal was opening, and the U.S. had vested interest in Cuba as a result of the Spanish-American War. It took many years, and in 1912, the first train arrived in Key West from Miami, and Henry Flagler was actually on that train.
Along the ride, you'll see some amazing blue waters, of which sport fishermen dream.
What I love about the Florida Keys is the water. It's all about the water. When you come to Key West or Marathon or Islamorada, whatever you do, get out on the water. I don't care whether you take a sunset sail, snorkel trip, scuba dive, or just take a nice little ride the boat, but get on the water, enjoy it, get in it. It's one of the most beautiful, fascinating parts of the Florida Keys, and we are the only living coral reef in the nation. So definitely check that out when you're here.
Mallory Square is fantastic and it's most well known for its sunset celebration, which happens every day. Street performers and artists perform there every single evening, and it attracts thousands of tourists.
The community, the island community that is Key West, is like none other in the country. It is a paradise. We enjoy very beautiful weather. There's always something to do.
It's not Florida. It's got a different feel to it entirely. The people are different, the attitudes are different, the geography's different. Of course, it's just beautiful mixture of lots of sea and land, and it's all kind of one thing. And it's just it's a terrific place down here. I've been down here for decades now, and I don't want to be anywhere else.
Personally, it's the weather. I grew up in a very cold area, and so living in an environment where it's warm all year is fantastic.
It is the sense of community here that sets it apart from all others. It is a very small town, and everyone knows each other, and everyone's very friendly. You can walk or bike everywhere, go swimming in the ocean, pretty much 365 days a year. What's not to like?
In the food, the Keys are known for 2 signature dishes you need to try while you're down there.
There are 2 things you're going to want to try when you come here to the Keys. One is conch, which comes in the form of chowder. You can also get conch fritters. And the other would be the key lime pie. And the key lime pie you have to get in the Keys because they don't make it properly anywhere else. It has to be made with key limes, which are only indigenous to this region. What makes Key West so special is not only its geographic distinction as the southernmost point in the U.S., but its true history is the colorful inhabitants, the entrepreneurs, the businessmen, the authors, and artists who have called it home for generations.